First of all, I want to express my appreciation for you allowing me to speak to you today. And I'll apologize for the fact that I don't write speeches. I have never written a speech, and so I can't promise I'll stay on schedule. But the General did us a good favor by keeping us on task. So what I want to try to do with you guys today is share with you kind of what the Denver Fire Department looks like and what we're doing to address what I see as severe deficiencies within that department. And it's really been a personal mission for me because before I ever got on the Denver Fire Department, we had a very close family friend that was a member of the fire department. Had been there through all the important parts of my life, been there at my graduation, and then I step onto the Denver Fire Department, and lo and behold, he's one of my training officers. Very shortly after getting out of the academy, that individual committed suicide. But it was merely a blip on the radar. The fire service knew it, everybody was shocked, but not a lot was discussed about it, not a lot was done about it. Throughout the years, every couple of years or so, we had another suicide. Not a whole lot was said about it. It was kind of pushed to the side. Not a big deal was made out of it. No big changes. Then September 11th occurs. I think we all know the significance of that day. Shortly after that, we had another individual that was suffering from some mental health issues, and we had an assistant chief that went to that individual's house with the intent of helping this individual out. I'm going to go help him, but maybe not necessarily all the skills or being able to recognize all the warning signs. And unfortunately, that resulted in a murder-suicide. And so we lost an assistant chief that day. We were all shocked. It was on the news. It was on the news for about a day because, again, September 11th had just occurred. So we had a great masking incident so that we could all kind of, once again, ignore it, move on throughout our lives. Not a whole lot changed. Not a whole lot was done about it. Then we go every couple more years, a couple more suicides. Until this year, or actually last year in 2013, but recently, we had a captain, a very well-respected captain, a very highly thought-of captain. Most people would say was the definition of a firefighter's firefighter. Very brave, very macho, willing to help out anytime they could, nothing they couldn't tackle, commit suicide. And now we were at a crossroads again. It's happened again. How do we respond? So we did something a little different than had been done in the past. And we immediately went to the station where the individual worked. We met with the crews, and we made a big deal of it. We let those crews go off. We let them go home. We put them on administrative leave. We sent our peer support teams. We sent our counselors out there, but then we let those individuals grieve. We let them express their needs. We didn't immediately put them in service. We let them know there would be no timelines defined when you would have to go back to work, when that rig would be in service. But we let them come to work and be with one another, and then decide what they needed. And they actually bonded. They came very close together. The peer supporters would go out there, the counselors would go out there, but the individuals themselves, they felt empowered to say, this is what I need. But more importantly, I think it actually started the discussion that it's okay to say that you need something. And then what we found out is what they wanted to do more than anything was be with the family of that captain. And so we allowed them to take the rig, go in service, go on duty, and be with that family. But then the funeral comes. What do we do there? In the past, it had been just a fairly nondescript funeral. We allowed that funeral to happen with that family. We celebrated the fire service family with that captain's family, and we allowed them to have a funeral with dignity. We let our members go in full Class A uniforms. We sent fire trucks. We sent the command staff, and we went out like it was a funeral without any stigma whatsoever to it. You know, we've had many speakers talk about how we need to remove that stigma. That was our goal, was let's remove the stigma. Because guess what? It was a tragedy. Regardless of why it occurred, we lost a very talented individual of our organization. And the cost to our organization is enormous. The cost to that individual's family is enormous. There's no fiscal dollar you can put on that. So we didn't worry about that side. We didn't worry about being embarrassed if, oh, it might be in the news that a firefighter took his life. We fully accepted it, and we accepted it without stigma. But then we didn't stop there. It was a great catalyst to start having a discussion about what can we do? Can we actually start talking about mental health? Fortunately for us, at the same time, we had an employee group that recognized this and was willing to step forward. Employees groups, kind of ironic, but the name of the employee group is FIRE, so they're fire. But they've always been known as an advocacy group. And this seemed to be the perfect catalyst and perfect time to marry up the administration with an advocacy group so that we could go down a training path where it wasn't foreseen as, I've got a captive group, I can make them go through training, and hey, we're checking the boxes, we did something, but where we can say, this is truly in your best interest, the department's best interest, and we're actually here to help one another. And so we started on a mission, and we started talking about it. Our administration had already partnered with the National Fallen Firefighters organization to start delivering classes like firefighter first aid or stress first aid. We put together a 40-minute video that talks about all of our line of duty deaths, so we were already starting down that path, but we really hadn't bridged that, hey, it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to talk about mental health. What I'm proud to be able to tell you today is, in addition to all of our other resources, peer support, we have a department psychologist, we have EAP, we have all that, they're all underutilized services. We have a very robust wellness program, a very highly used wellness program. We actually have an in-house physical therapist. We have a PTA. That PTA, you can go out there any day, he's got a line out his door of people coming in and utilizing it. We've had tremendous results. Matter of fact, I'll have to give you a different health insurance story that anybody else can ever tell you. Our health insurance is going down next year because of the lack of utilization of our health insurance, because our people are in better shape. We're paying 3% less next year for our health insurance. So that's a great success, and it's normal. And Chief Qualman talked about it. Firefighters, we embrace physical fitness. I can get people to come to classes. I can put equipment in stations and it'll be used. How do we get to mental health being the same thing? This year, with the help of Sally and all of our employee groups, we're actually going to be putting on what we call total wellness. And we're going to merge them together so it's seamless. We're going to have our peer fitness instructors out there, our wellness coordinator, our peer support teams, our department psychologist, all out there at the same time and blending the class into one thing and saying this is what wellness is on our department. Without the saying this is mental health, this is physical health, this is wellness. And that wellness is important. In addition to that, we put a video together, again with Sally's help, that'll have myself on there, but other members of the fire department saying it's okay to talk about mental health. Matter of fact, it's not okay, it's necessary to talk about mental health. Because if you're not able to talk about it and express these things, then you truly don't have a true wellness program or a work environment that promotes wellness. And so we're really excited to start going down that path. And I know I got a minute left. And so the other thing that we wanted to put out there too was, by doing this, we give people opportunity to express vulnerability. And within the fire service, since we always have that moniker of being the heroes, being heroic and vulnerable don't necessarily always go together. We're going to start bridging that. And so whenever we have the opportunity to talk about that, or say it's okay to talk about it, we take advantage of that. And to give one good example, I can tell you, getting up here today, I was extremely nervous, and given the caliber of the previous speakers, extremely intimidated. But knowing that I have that desire, the same as you do, to go ahead and start addressing suicide prevention, that gave me the courage to be able to stand up here in front of you today. And for that, I thank you.